This episode is brought to you by Exotic Crunch. Take a bite of the world, one bite at a time. Welcome. We're back at the BluePrint. I'm your host, Blue. And of course, I have my very dear friend and sister, Oluremi Sano, with Spark and Flow with us, with yet some more gems that she's going to give us today. So, of course, welcome, Oluremi.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right. So talk to us. Our topic today, mindsets and meditations for manifesting the lives we want. You know, now you speaking my language for real. I'm all about that life. So tell us.
Mindset and meditations for manifesting the life we want. This is a topic that we have to massage and nurture a little bit more. We have to massage and nurture, and it's okay to massage and nurture because that's just reinforcement. And then where we start with that is that one, we want to start with mental wellness and understanding that every single day that we wake up breathing is a new day and a new time and a new time to be renewed in and of ourselves and our goals and everything that we want to do. So resurrection is every day. We don't take resurrection outside of ourselves, right? And we don't have to be a pastor, a preacher, or, a prophet or a philosopher. We don't have to be any of those things, any of those P's to understand that the R's are within us, right? Resurrection and renewal are in us every single day. And I have some really fun friends that I like to be around. You and I talked about alignment. And making sure that we are around people that help us manifest the things that we want, because those people are aligned with our goals, with our energy field, with the things that we like, with the ways that we move. I had some really good conversations. One of my friends, we always talk about, not necessarily being around people who, if people carry angst all the time, listen, you can best believe Oluremi is not going to be there. If you carry angst and that's all you do, and you're always talking about this or that, and you're in a negative energy field, I will not be there. It doesn't matter if it's social, it doesn't matter if it's personal, it doesn't matter if it's business, even if it's a whole environment, a whole business environment, I will leave the environment like I did over 30 years ago. I left the entire job and the entire aspect of working for someone else because of the energy field. And I was 26 years old, and I moved away from it and manifested my dreams in a way where I knew clearly what I wanted to do. I mapped it out. I took a piece of notebook paper and I said, what would I have to do? Now, my talent and skill at the time was hair braiding, and I had not ever owned a business. And I was like, man, I wonder how many heads I have to braid to get away from this job. And I literally sat down and mapped it out, and I did just that. I was like, if I can braid here, because when you braid hair, you're selecting who's coming around you. You can select your client and your customer. You don't have to let people in your doors because it's your private enterprise. I literally made more braiding hair than I did with a master's degree in 33 hours toward a PhD. I took that money, opened up a salon, and that was my very first business at 26 years old, 1994. This is true story. So we just passed 2024. That's 30 years ago.
Wow.
Now, manifesting your dreams comes from understanding what you need to do and putting your own self and your own mind toward what it is that does. Because at the time, I thought that I had done what everybody said to do. That is, and I did what everybody else said to do. Everybody on the outside of me, people tell you to go to school, get a good education, nothing wrong with that. Get a degree, nothing wrong with that, right? I went to a HBCU, so I had a little fun along the way. So the thing is, what we do after that is what a lot of times people are saying to us, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. So we're thinking, get a master's degree, get a PhD, get a this, get a that. And we have everybody else's expectations on top of us. And sometimes we have our own expectations too. So I wanted to do it. Nobody made me do it. I kept going to school back to back, master's, PhD. During my PhD, and I was already working full time and doing a PhD, I started becoming a little stressed. I was like, man, this is a lot. Didn't have a break. I decided to keep going because I wanted to knock it out all at one time. But then my fingers started swelling. The joints between I have never had that. I've never had any health issues. Never had. It was just stress. And so what I decided to do was take a clear inventory for myself of who I'm around. These people are irking my last nerves, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the time. There's no reason for it. They just do it because they feel like they can. And so when you're in environments like that, people talk about it, people write articles about it. They talk to their friends. Sometimes they bring that stuff home to their families and they never do anything. They never go move away from the stress.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I moved away from the stress and I aligned myself in a building that I ended up paying for myself. And I created the environment. Everybody around me was joyous because it was my environment, right?
Right.
And the people that I selected to come in my environment. And I was getting paid for what I love to do. And so now I have a whole new aura field. And for the last 30 years, I've been existing in that. And that's what we're talking about today, creating the energy, being around the energies that you want, being the energy you wish to see. So you cannot expect other people to be that energy and you're not that energy too, which takes constant inventory, constant assessment of yourself, so our energies can align, we can enjoy each other, we can enjoy our atmosphere together, and we can be fruitful together. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of stuff I want to see. And this is what we're here to help people do. This is series 3, right? So we are now helping people map their energy so that they can manifest what they want.
All right. So guys, you know what to do. Get your paper and your pen. I'm serious about that because everything you write, it manifests. It comes to fruition. We
It
can
sure
take a
does.
biblical about that. Habakkuk 2:2. Write it and make it
Yep,
plain. So that's why
that's
I
right.
write everything down, especially these gems that she's saying. And just to piggyback off of what you were also saying about how you just, called timeout and you left that environment. I did the exact same thing June 13th, 2013. I lived
You
in
see?
Texas all my life. And for the most of
Mhm.
my life, even though I'm the younger or the one of the youngest of the clan, and I'm talking extensive clan, I often looked at and was told in the family that they see me more as a matriarchal piece of the family. I'm even told
Mhm.
now the older I get, the more I'm like Big Mama, and I see it every single day. And
That's good.
yeah, and so but you have all these people and things pulling from you, and I spent so much time pouring into them and making sure that they're good that I neglected myself. And I
Yes.
said, time out. And next thing you know, I was driving me and my dog uh, headed east and landed in Jersey and been on the East Coast ever since. And it's been
And then
great.
that's mapping your moves, mapping your
Right.
moves.
I hit a hard spot, which is what I tell in my my other in the podcast. I tell about that story. It was up. It was absolutely down. Now it's back up, and it is phenomenal.
See, there you go. So really what I want is for people to understand how to, just like that, you find a space, because we're talking about places, people, things, being around things. You want to be in a place that feeds you,
Right.
right? Because what you feed grows. And if something is not feeding you, something is pulling on you, something is pulling away from you, something is pouring negative into you, then that is not a good place for you. This could also be jobs. I don't understand why people convince themselves that they have to stay at a job where they have microaggressions on a regular basis. They
Wow.
don't like it. They end up taking those microaggressions and expressing it and rehearsing it over and over. Our mother used to do that. We used to hear about her job, the people on her job, and that's not the best thing to do in terms of mental wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes maybe people didn't have the tools back then, but now we have the tools. You don't have to take that in. You can clean your aura, you can clean yourself, and you can reset yourself. You can
Right.
renew yourself, right? And we need to be able to do that. That's called critical self-care. And critical self-care means sometimes taking yourself out of those environments that eat away at you. If it's not bringing good to you and it's not doing good for you, you need
Mm-hmm.
to do a self-assessment and then move yourself away from that environment. So that's the places, the people, same inventory. If you have people in your life that's all they do, they like to kick up dust and kick up, you know what? We need to get rid of those people too, because those people are helping block our blessings a lot of times, and we don't even realize that. We just get used to it and laughing it off. Sometimes people laugh at people like that all the time. They keep it going because you're encouraging people to continue to say things that are negative and bad about other people. Yeah, that's encouragement. And instead of moving away from it and finding place and space for yourself, you're encouraging that person to keep on invading your place and space with their silliness. You know what I mean? So the people, places, and things, there's some things that are not good for you. Sometimes people have too many things, or they have an addiction to things. They have an addiction to shopping. They have an addiction to always needing to get something to make themselves feel good. So we need to know how to self-assess and take those things away. You don't always have to be outside in a store and spending your money. Sometimes you need to sit in yourself.
I tell you one thing, two things actually. The best thing that will fix that, I don't wish on anybody because I went through it. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I can see how I move differently with regards to the people in my life and the things that are in my life. When you go from having everything to losing it all, and then now you're back where it was, the lesson that I got in that, I mean, I can't even go to the store now. I'll say, oh, I want to get those pack of cookies. And then I think to myself, do you really want those cookies? Where else can you put that money? That money could go in a light bill. I put them cookies
you
right.
See?
It
put
has
them cookies back.
Life, straight up. And then the people. When you said that, that really struck something with me. And this is from a very spiritual place with me. And there was a situation, not once, but twice, that I was in a relationship. And I gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. I poured and poured, but there was no reciprocity. And the behaviors weren't changing. And then I was seeing the behaviors of the other person and ignoring those red flags, right? So it took my aunt on the first one to prophesy into my life and said, that person, as long as that person's in your life, you're never going to walk into your glory. And I used to go back and forth. And like when I would pull away from them, everything started clicking quick, like on point. Then I tip back in and shit goes down. I know I was trying not to use that word, but it is what it is. And that was the situation also in my most recent relationship. And I just, had a spiritual download. And they were like, this person is not ordained to dine at your harvest. Can't you see that? And they were showing it. Every time I walk away from it, on point, everything. Every time I tap back in, there's like, you'll figure it out one day. I finally figured it out.
Yep.
Done. Had to X that out.
You see, that's important, that because you take a spiritual inventory a lot of times, and you don't have to allow people to eat at your table. You just don't have to. The other thing is you have to get used to sitting at your table by yourself. When I say sit in yourself, a lot of times people are not comfortable sitting in themselves. Like, just, who are you? Am I really who I say I am? Am I all that I can be? This is part of our manifestation stage, right? So I teach this even to young people, to young kids. I used to teach it when I was a dance instructor. Who am I? Am I really who I say I am? And am I all that I can be? Anytime you stop and think about the things that you're doing right then, you can ask yourself those three questions, and you always have room to grow.
Right.
And so if you always have room to grow, which we always all have room to grow, then we can sit in ourselves sometimes and just focus on growing. Because when you focus on growing, then those things that you really want in life, the higher manifestations, take a higher level of energy, and you want to be able to give that energy. So you have to have clarity to do that. So how do we do that meditatively? This is important because people can meditate in all different types of ways. It does not have to be all metaphysical, and you don't have to be part of no house and no elay and no this and no that. You can be with yourself and meditate. And that basically is quiet time with yourself, allowing your energy to flow and allowing yourself to feel yourself, allowing your thoughts to be clear, and to be, sometimes they're not clear. Sometimes you just have to let yourself be able to get the unclear thoughts out so that you can have clear thoughts. And that takes time. It takes sitting with yourself, no TV, no interaction, no engagement. You don't have to, I don't know how you can shop and meditate at the same time. Maybe there's somebody out there that thinks that can prove me wrong, because I know some shopaholics. But I also know some friends that shop so much they can never be still. And that is part of their problem. They cannot move forward in their lives. They can't move on. They can't get their thoughts clearly, but they shop every single day. And that is sometimes a problem for people. So for me, we really need to learn how to sit in ourselves and be able to, I always say just woosah down to the soul level. That's what I say.
Mm,
People know that I moved to Africa, and so for me, being able to woosah down to the soul level is being in places that allow me to be authentically who I am all the time
mhm.
without anything else. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no having to go code switch in a job. There's
Right,
no having to go in a store and somebody's looking at you the whole time because your skin is a different complexion. There's
right.
no having to compare every single day that you get up with 14 layers of trauma on you because you are in somebody else's um, society that decides that you can't do this, you can't do that. When you are in places that allow you to be exactly who you are and that's all
Mhm.
you see, you can woosah down at the soul level. And it's hard because most people are never able to do that.
Right.
Most of us who grew up in America are always carrying multiple layers of trauma. We're never able to just sit long enough to work through those traumas. It's okay because we have them. And it's not like you want to label yourself or define yourself as trauma, but the society itself carries trauma. We have a
Right.
lot going on right now. When we think about energy and assessment, we also have to think about those things inside forces, but outside forces too. We have fires and ice and storms and all kinds of stuff going on. We have shutting down of people's open expression of communication that just happened a day ago. You and I talked about that. They don't cut off whole communication systems and apps and everything. So what people are told that they can and can't do in a society that's supposed to be an open society, this is
Mm,
this is also a layer that people have to work through. It's a layer of outside aggression that people have to work through. So again, manifesting our energies and manifesting those things that we want to happen take practice and it takes time. So you have to be able to put that in your schedule. How do you create the habit of meditation? You create the habit by every single morning. I can tell you what my daily habits are. In the morning when I wake up, number one, I wake up when my body is rested.
mhm.
There's no time that I wake up at. There's not a time that I have woken up at every single time for the last 30 years. You cannot peg it. You cannot peg it because I work for myself. I own 100% of my time. I wake up when I'm rested. I wake up when I feel like it every single day. When I feel like getting up is when I get up. So that's one. You want to be able to wake up when you're rested. You want to be able to, what I do also is I like to go let the light in. So one of my habits, I like to let the light in and let the sun in. And then I like to feed my plants because that's part of my personal meditation is I love plants and I love green and I love energy. And so I water the plants and then I like quiet time. So I sit in my own self and I meditate in the morning and then I get coffee. So coffee is something that I love. People know that I love it. I even own a coffee company, but I like coffee in the morning and then I like to sit with my thoughts because your thoughts are really clear in the morning. And
Mhm.
also if I'm doing any kind of goal setting or any kind of resetting or any type of things to-do list that goes along with my goals, I like to do that in the morning before I do anything. I don't turn on TVs, I don't turn on any of that stuff
Right.
because I'm setting my day and setting my spirit. You're
Mhm.
setting your spirit to be able to accomplish what it is you want it to accomplish. And these are not, to me, these are not difficult things. These are not things that you need somebody else to tell you to do necessarily, but you do have to get into the practice of doing it. The things that are a little bit more difficult is pulling yourself away sometimes, like what we just said, from people, places, and things that don't serve your ultimate purpose. So
Mhm.
meditation and manifesting those things that we want, I like to be really clear because as y'all know, I have business goals that are on a higher level. I have goals. I do have 3 or 4 businesses. I have to manage those businesses. I have to stay growing in those businesses. I have to set goals. So when we talk about God goals, growth and growing, I mean and glowing, we're talking about keeping those things that you really want to see happen at the highest part of your crown, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then making those things manifest takes setting your goals, putting some deadlines to them, being around the people. Every year I have a whole group of people around me that come to Africa because I set up the mechanism for them to be able to do that. And so that's important to me. I have aligned people coming to be with me for 10 days at the end of every single year because it's something that I wanted to see. So I put a mechanism in place to make that happen. It wasn't
Um,
easy, but I had to concentrate on it. I had to keep doing it. I had to go through some obstacles to get it done. But this is the kind of thing that we can do when we concentrate on our own goals. And you have to be clear about it. And you also have to adjust along the way. So keeping people clear is a daily task also, because you have people
mhm.
that, well, I consider as energy vultures.
Right,
You have
right,
people who are energy vultures who want to be part of what you're doing, but they bring all their wrecking ball energy with them when they do it.
right.
So keeping that clear means like keeping your own standard at the top, making sure that they know, hey, if I have to go through this, I'm doing my self-care, I'm doing my inner work, I'm a lot around those people that are doing the same thing, then this is what I expect other people to do also. You're not telling people how to run their life, but you are setting the stage.
For your environment.
I can be, yeah, because I can be around you anytime. We can not, you and I, we can not see each other months, years, and I can get back around you and know that your energy is already going to be in alignment. So
Right,
we can chalk it up, we can talk it up, we can reset, we can talk about business, we can talk about person. There's nothing gray area or wrecking ballish. You know what I mean? And that's how you want to come together with people in alignment. And to do that, to me, it takes daily meditations.
no
What
doubt.
do you do? What do you do to meditate?
As soon as I wake up, I give thanks to my Ori
Mm-hmm.
and I thank God, Oluremi. I go through all of my prayers. There's this whole prayer thing that I go through.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sit in a quiet space. I just sit for a moment. I don't, my TV rarely comes on. So there's a lot of time, especially with this life change that I've gone through, that most of my time is quiet time now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so after I do all of that, I sit and I just begin to speak over my day. I begin to speak
Mm-hmm.
over my day. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish this. There's nothing that's going to hinder me from accomplishing my goals. Everything
Mm-hmm.
that I lay my hands on, I start speaking into my vision, into my dream, into my day, and
Yes.
crafting that so that I can walk in that. And then I'm asking them to walk with me as I move through. I'm walking in that energy. And that's pretty much my day. Then on Sundays, like, today, it's really heavy. I'm tending to my plants because I got all this over here, which all of those mean something to me. And just tending to things that are special to me spiritually that feeds me. That's what I,
Yeah.
I do. But yeah,
Yeah.
every single day. Oh, and can't forget, I gotta have my incense. I've got to
Mm-hmm.
have a whole hodgepodge of different
Mm-hmm.
incense and plants and flowers, and just depending
Yep.
on the energy, I'll be burning something so that I can take that energy in and lay those words that I'm speaking on top of that smoke to rise up to the heavens to bring whatever I'm calling down.
Yeah. That's right. That's good. Good stuff because you know what feeds you. And we always say that, you have choices. And so what you feed grows. If you're feeding this negative side all the time, that's what's going to grow. If you feed the positive side or you feed the side that is life bringing, those things that are life bringing, those things that are goal bringing, those things that are dream bringing, your dreams, you want your dreams to come to life. Somebody said one time, don't live the same year every year and call it a life.
Mm,
Don't live the same year every year for 75 years and call it a life. That's what the whole quote was.
wow.
Right? If
Incredible.
you live the same year every year for 75 years, like many people do, and many people are oriented to do, especially in US and driven societies where
Mm,
everything is around work, 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 work. And you do that same year every year, right? For 75 years and then you call it a life and then you're like, oh, Bill is gone or,
mm,
Rashida is gone. Thank you. Yeah, what did you build in that you really love or that you really wanted to do or, that thing that you really helped manifest or the service that you provided to somebody. I mean, so when we talk about mapping our moves, because this is part of a series, we're talking about putting some zest in life and then creating those things and being around people who can help those things come into being. I literally just helped a young lady create an entity the other day called Fruitful Destiny.
Mm, that's
Fruitful
powerful. Just
Destiny.
hearing that.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, I don't know what I want to call it, but I have three or four names to the business." And one of them, she couldn't. She first tried to do an acronym with her children. I think she has four or five children, but it was a lot of letters. And then she said fruitful. First, it was Fruitful Destinations, and she's like, "But that sounds like a travel company."
Mm,
And I said, "How about Fruitful Destiny?" She's like, "That's it,
that's
Fruitful
it.
Destiny." So like, look, helping people, I love what I do because I help people bring their dreams alive. I literally help them create their dreams and visions. So if somebody comes to me with a name, then we start with that name. We start with what it is they want to do in their passion, something they love to do or something they want to do really bad. And then we start mapping it out. And you have to be able to do that, to map your moves in order for them to come alive. So, but it takes meditation. So this is our topic: meditating, alignment, opening up your energy, being around people that pour into you and not take away, and really learning how to assess that. I can tell you the one thing out of all the schooling that I had my entire life, right? Because
Hmm.
in America, they tell you to go to school, get a good education. You do high school, you do your bachelor's, master's, PhD. Out of all those levels of schooling, the thing that sticks out most is what they call a life course inventory. I
Mm,
had to do that in one of my psychology classes in my master's program. And really what it is it was like five or six columns, maybe seven. It might have been seven. So six or seven columns of life, and you are the life. And so every single column represents one decade of life. So 10 years old, 20 years old, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Map out all the things that were happening for you at that time in your life. What do you remember about when you were 10 years old and younger? What are the
mm,
things that stood out at 10 years old and younger? What are the things that stood out at 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s? Now you go back and you say, now, did I do anything that I really wanted to do? Have I done all the things? What are the things on my bucket list? And then also you have to map out those things that had a hardcore mark on your reality that might not have
mm.
been so good.
Right.
So those things are the things that where people carry traumas and stuff like that. But once you get it all sorted, you can see, hey, did you ever really work through that? Something that happened to you when you were 10 years old and you still carrying it at 60 years old, that thing might be impacting your ability or not to be able to get something done,
Right.
because you never really took an inventory. So
Right.
this is called a life course inventory. It's a tool. It's a psychological tool that I think people can do. It's also one of the things that you can do when you're sitting with yourself is do a life
Mm.
course inventory. Let me look at myself.
Yeah.
I don't have to go pay a therapist. Let me look at myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing
Right.
wrong with the therapist, by the way. There's nothing wrong with the therapist.
Right.
But
But we have the
sometimes we
ability
can
to
do
self-assess and listen to
voila.
what's going on in our lives and
Mm-hmm.
be real and be honest with ourselves that this is
Mm-hmm.
the situation. And see, that's what I just went through. And now
Mm-hmm.
I'm approaching 50 in about
Mm-hmm.
38 in about 29 days. And
Mm-hmm.
I've already made the decision, brand new life. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
this part is right now for me. And I'm walking in this year, the year of the nine,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm 50. 50 means jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an Aquarius. It's up for me everywhere, every which way I turn, and the evidence is there. And
Mm-hmm.
so I cannot wait. You're such an inspiration to me. I cannot
Thank
wait
you.
to finally have my home on the
Mm-hmm.
motherland, on the continent, and be able to
You
call
will.
and say, I finally made it. My goal is to make it happen this year.
Yes, you will. You will.
Right.
That's how you do it. You put it out in the atmosphere, put it in the universe, and then they say the universe conspires to make those things happen that you put out there. So what you speak and what you say can happen is just as soon as you say it and just as clear as you say it, it can happen.
It's been
Now all you're doing is putting yourself in alignment with the people, places, and things to make it happen.
agreed. That was the message to me. All we need you to do is be in position.
Yep.
in position. And I'm doing that by partnering with you and helping
Yes.
all of the folks out here to do that
Yep.
with me, to be in
Mm-hmm.
partnership with you and
That's
let
right.
them know how they can get, because just this same type of information that she just gave us, don't think it's just all business with Oluremi.
It's
Oluremi
not.
is personal with you and be able to speak into your life. You know, when you're
Yes.
having those hard days and like, okay, what's going on? Okay, well, let's kick this up. Da-da-da.
Yep.
I've gone through it with her. So
Mm-hmm,
I know
mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about. And
Yep.
so even if you just need someone to just give you the encouragement to be able to stay on task to reach your goals, the buck stops with Oluremi. Oluremi, tell them how they can reach you.
Thank you so much. So sparkandflow.biz is SPARKANDFLOW.biz. Sparkandflow.biz. That is the website. You can find out more about what I do, but you also can go on the contact form, send me a note, let me know if you want to get in touch and talk about what it is your goals and dreams are. But also you can get in touch with me through Shopify, through my Shopify store, which has the same name, Spark and Flow with Oluremi. And on that Spark and Flow with Oluremi Shopify, you can also get a free consultation. And you can get a free consultation from the website too. But you sign up for a free consultation on Shopify by clicking the tab for free consultation, and then it'll take you to a calendar. And that calendar, you can choose a time out of the times that are available, and then we get on a Zoom.
Y'all, it's free. That consultation is free. Make that free consultation, because I'm telling you,
yes,
it's your life, and you let her know that Blue sent you.
Yes.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and end it today.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. And we'll do it again next week. To everybody out there, be blessed in your goings and your comings. I wish you all
yes, ma'am.
An honorable day. Ashe.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, please, and come on back. Bye now.